Before there was cinema, before there was multi-billion-dollar productions, before there was TV shows, before there were even books, there were stories. This isn't something that we've been doing for an artistic aspect. It's been a survival trait. Now, how has this been working for so long? Why are we still emotionally provoked by stories after we've been doing them for millenniums? It's not necessarily an artistic creation, it's more of a survival instinct. Welcome to the Human Story. This is a multi-documented series about the how and the why this still affects us, why stories have an effect on us, how they still have an effect on us. My name's Don. I'll be handling the videos. James, he'll be handling the blogs. A great way to describe what this feeling that we have towards stories is, it's called the narrative paradigm. And to simply put it, humans aren't the most logical people. We love stories, which is why we've been telling them for so long. Now, let's say I tell you that 12% of all businesses fail. As a human, you're going to say, cool, that's unfortunate. That's not a big number. And you're going to keep pushing. But if I tell you about one business, I'll tell you about Joe. And Joe started this business because his daughter died. And then from there, he grew this business to help all the other men and families whose daughters died. But then I tell you about how the business didn't work out and why this hurt Joe. And I keep going on and on into the story, and I tell you all these things. Now you have much more of an impact because of the narrative. That's the story behind it. And that's where we can find ourselves as humans kind of being directed or controlled or kind of influenced in some of the things that we want to believe or that we pay attention to because of the narrative paradigm. We as people, in a simplistic aspect, are prone to lie, prone to expand upon a story or expand upon a feeling or emotion. Think about Grandpa Billy Bob. And Billy Bob, Grandpa, was stubbed his toe. He stubbed his toe in 1991. But in 1991, he just stubbed his toe. In 2026, not only did he stub his toe, but he tripped, fell over, made this high-pitched tone, which to him, and the story he's going to tell you, is he made this high-pitched tone, which led on to a producer who was walking outside, and it just so happened that Michael Jackson heard the producer, and oh my God, me stubbing my toe influenced Michael Jackson singing. So it's people's tendency and the human's tendency to tell a story and to just not necessarily lie, but to create a story and a narrative to create more conviction, to give you something to tell somebody else, to give you a happy memory, to give you some type of meat to the bone of the story. And the bone of our existence, get it? Bone, bane, you get it? Is storytelling. We have to add that meat to add meaning. The meat equals meaning. Now, on a bigger scale, we won't be able to hear Billy Bob's story 1,000 miles away. I'm not going to be able to share my story from Florida and Idaho, and it might not reach as many people. That's where film comes into play. We have this tendency if we don't have an answer, we'll write one. This is in plain sight right now. It's not something that's just history. It's happening right now. Think about this. Over the last 2 to 3 years, we've had a crazy amount of talks about aliens. This here is Blorp, or Deontay Blorp, that's his name. And over the last 2 years, you've seen all these congressional hearings about aliens and what the government knows and hasn't told us. Then we also have the multimedia conglomerate Hollywood funding more movies. So now you have Disclosure, Hail Mary. There was another movie with Adam Sandler where an alien helped him deal with grief. So you have all this stuff going on, and what's happened is you have these congressional hearings and they're saying, well, we're testifying and questioning, and we're going to talk about all these things that the government knows, and we're going to create these specific, unresolved, ambiguously, genuinely uncertain situation in the public conscious. So this is stuff that we have just questions about. It's not answers. They're just telling us, hey, this might be out there. It's kind of out there. We don't know too much, but I'm letting you know that there's something, right? And that's right around the same window, you just start getting all these movies. So people understand, oh, well, here's a problem. Let me write a film about the problem that might give you an answer. So for Disclosure Day, that's a movie about not only aliens, but the influence that disclosing that information will have on religion. Then you have the painting of the picture of movies like Home, right? It's an animated movie, but it's about a girl who finds an alien who helps her solve her problems on Earth, but she has to help the aliens. So it's painting these pictures on different relationships that we might have with this possible problem. You know, there's no definitive answer on are the aliens good, do they want to help us or not? But you have Alien versus Predator, they don't want to help us. Home, they do want to help us. Hail Mary, we want to help each other because we both want to die. So we have a topic, but we have multiple problems, multiple solutions. And that's kind of where we're finding this influence. And it's not random. It's not just something we decided to do because of finances. That's culture using story to metabolize something real that hasn't been resolved yet. We didn't get an official answer, so we wrote one. That's humans. So why does this matter? Why did I just describe to you the narrative paradigm on a planetary scale? And why does this matter for the rest of the series? Because every story isn't just about film. We're going to look at technique. We're going to look at symbolism. We're going to look at character design. We're going to look at cinematography, music. And it's easy to treat those as just filmmaking techniques, but the reason those techniques work is because they're all series of this one deeper thing. Humans need to listen to a story or a narrative to process unresolved logic. Grief, fear, uncertainty, and the unknown. For example, the Bible. I grew up in the South, heavy influenced by the church, and if you read the Bible, it's 10% direction, 90% story. I can tell you that, hey, don't look back. If you make a decision, stand on it. Follow your heart, follow God's voice, the twinkle of insight or intuition you feel you have, follow that because it comes from a higher being and they're guiding you in a better direction. You'll say, okay. But if I tell you the story about Job and how he was guided to run away from a city and not look back and to keep pushing, and the result of him not paying attention and the result of him not listening to the intuition was when he looked back at the city he was running away from, his wife next to him would turn into a pillar of salt. Now that's, in today's term, you wouldn't even imagine that if you look back on a decision that your loved one would turn into a seasoning. But the issue is, this isn't just some grandiose idea. This isn't some grandiose thing that just kind of happens. No, that's creation. That's who we are innately. So now if you believe in the Bible being the most basic instruction before leaving Earth, which is what the Bible stands for, this being the most historical piece of document to help you guide through life, why are there so many stories? Because that's who we are. That's how we understand life. It's all stories. Next episode, we're going to get a little bit more specific. This episode, I've broken down kind of the why and the what we're talking about. Really went over the idea of the narrative paradigm. The next episode, we're going to get more into specifics about character development and how the people we watch on screen are just really mirrors of traits we're working on ourselves. Let's try to keep it level-headed. I know sometimes I might drag things out, or I could be a great storyteller and expound upon things, but this has been The Human Story. See you next time.